Hey, welcome to episode 1 of the Burly Talk podcast. I'm your host, Sean, and this is
Andrew.
So, we're coming from my gun room in Wyoming today, and clearly this is episode 1. We're wanting to break into the whole podcast scene and kind of do some stuff together, kind of continue to keep that bond of our friendship strong and spend time together. This is just another outlet for it. So, a little bit about us. We met in the military in 2015.
Yeah, 2015.
2015. Fuck, it's been a long time. And then we served together in Italy. I ended up changing my duty station back to the States, and then together for about another 5 years, I believe.
Yeah, so he decided to abandon me in Italy, and I haven't really let go of it. I don't plan on letting go of it anytime soon either, so...
Definitely doesn't let me forget about it.
Yeah.
So, no, I guess our main objective on this podcast is to just kind of hammer the importance of, keeping in touch with your friends, those people that influence your life in a positive way, and, just reach out to them, man. We didn't see each other in person for 5-ish years. And then it took him moving from California to Montana for us to see each other again. And honestly, that amount of time is just kind of unforgivable.
Yeah, it took a while to get claim asylum,
Dude.
And get refugee status.
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, we can touch on that a little bit later, but I mean, I guess we'll start with how we met. I kind of glanced off of it at the very beginning in the intro there, but I was 25. Yeah, 25 at the time in 2015. And I was a police officer in Graybull, Wyoming. And I decided to make a drastic change with my life. Both of my grandfathers served. My papa on my mom's side, he was in the Army Air Corps, World War II. Then my granddad on my father's side, he was in the Navy. And then my brother, he's a GWAT OG from way back. Came into the Army pre 9/11, and then ended up doing like 3 tours in Iraq. And I just always looked up to him and always wanted to, serve my country in that capacity. And for some reason, I had just strayed away from it for so long. I ended up reaching out to him. He was on recruiter duty at the time, and said, "Hey man, what do you think about me joining the Army?" He said, "I think you should have done it when you were 18. And signed up and went through MEPS. My butthole looked at, and the rest is history. I ended up going to infantry OSUD at Fort Benning. How about you, bro?
Yeah. So, a little different story. I mean, my father was in the military. I'm originally from California. My whole family is, and we're just kind of, Californians at heart, I guess. And then that changed obviously once I moved out here. But not to get ahead of myself a little bit. Going back to the military thing, I joined up in 2015. Decided to go infantry as well. I was actually originally supposed to go to the intelligence route, but I decided to pump my chest a little bit, and I was like, I'm gonna be infantry, and I thought I would try it out, and it actually led to a lot of good things overall. Maybe not every experience was great, but overall I think it was worth it. I obviously met my best friend Sean here. We had a lot of cool experiences, and I got to do a lot of cool things, so that's definitely worth it. And then got out in 2019, back to California. Decided I really didn't like it. Shouldn't say that. It changed. Things changed over the 5-ish years that I was gone. And when I finally did return with my new wife at the time, things just weren't the same. So then we decided to uproot, and we originally were going to go to Wyoming. And then things kind of changed.
You departed from the original plan, I think, is how you would describe that.
Yeah, a little bit. But
It's all good. He only lives like 2 hours away from me, which is way closer than Italy or California. So it's definitely a plus to have you this close. That's one thing that they don't tell you when you go into the military. And I don't want anybody to get this like idea of this channel wrong. This isn't going to be like a poor me or feel sorry for veterans type thing. But one thing that they don't prepare you for is leaving behind those bonds that like become so strong. Like you cultivate that shit over years. And we'll get into it a little bit more. But you and I did nothing but see each other like every day
every day.
for over 2 years. I think the longest break we had, you came back one Christmas,
Yeah.
and I was like 8 days without you, and it's so strange. Like we were roommates. We would wake up, we'd go to PT together. We were in the same company. We were in the same platoon for the majority of the time. When we were in Italy together, we'd eat breakfast together, lunch. We'd hit the gym. We'd eat dinner together. We'd watch movies together. Like you're literally the only time you're apart from this person is like when you're sleeping.
Yeah.
And that's not exclusive to just our friendship. That's all the dudes that we were over there with. Maybe you're not roommates with them, but you're literally the lion's share of your day. You're spending with bros.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's like the whole cultivation of that kind of culture, those bonds or whatever. It's like a forced cultivation in a sense because the environment you're in, but at the same time, it's so fucking like you don't realize what's happening, because it's like you just go from spending time with your family like every single day, and everything being normal in civilian life, and then you go in and it's like you're with the same dudes, or even just the same one guy for like every single minute of every day, and it's like holy shit, man. Like, and then once you lose that, it's like holy shit, like what do I do? Like what do I like? Literally, what do I do? What do I do with like my day? Like, because I was so for me especially because I was used to like schedule, like Sean was saying. Right now, it's like or we'd wake up, we'd eat, we'd go to the gym, or we'd do cardio, whatever the fuck it was for that day, and then we'd do our day, we work our day or whatever it was, and then we'd hang out after. Like we immediately walk back to our fucking room, and we'd either go gym or we'd just hang out, like every single day. But it was never like you said, it was like either not even when you're shitting, because it was like you're in the room right next to me.
Yeah, exactly. And well, I mean, that's the thing. You guys are gonna find it out like as time goes on with this podcast. If you stay listening to us, I'm a chronic shit door open kind of guy. Like if you and I are gonna live together, I'm shitting with the door open. Like doors, yeah. That's just wasted material in my house, my guy.
Yeah.
But it's true, and it's not like it's not pleasant when you're going through it. You know what I mean? Like how the people that you don't jive on the same wavelength with, you don't have to be around. You may have to work with them and stuff like, but it's like it's finding that bond where you elect to be with that person, and like it's not an issue. It's not an issue that like 12 plus hours out of the day you're like seeing the same faces. It's just like, hell yeah, what are we doing next?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's like it happened like passively, like saying it's like that environment you're in kind of forces that onto you, and you don't realize it's happening until you lose it, But then while things are happening like that, and you're kind of getting those relationships built, or that relationship built rather, it's just like, you really don't want to change that, because when it does change, it's like even when we had a little bit of a change up, and Sean got moved to another platoon, because we were always in the same platoon, same squad, like same everything. Yeah. Like literally everything. And it was funny because going back a little bit, it's only because our names are so close to each other, like alphabetically speaking. We both L's, and then he's ALQ and I'm ALV, so it's like that's the only reason why. But it led to like a pretty awesome friendship. It's just crazy to think that simple letters and ABCs like really I guess like had such an influence on our lives, from that point. So
We wanna hit that up really quick.
yeah.
So we both clearly went into the army in 2015, and then when you go into the army with infantry as your MOS, like a lot of jobs, you'll go through basic, say 8 weeks, and then that's where you become a soldier. And then if you're, let's say, what, combat engineer or something like that,
Yeah.
a medic, that kind of thing, you'll go to AIT, which is your individual job training, and they'll teach you how to be a medic or whatever. But when you're infantry, you go through what's called OSUT, and that's one station unit training. So at one station unit training, you go through your 8 weeks of basic, and then you are officially like a United States Army soldier. That very next day, hey, guess what? You still ain't shit. Like you're waking up with the same drill sergeants, that kind of thing. You're waking up.
You feel like you're the shit though.
Yeah, you feel like you're the shit. And then they let you know that, hey, yeah, that's not the case.
Yeah.
And so you spend, I think it's 14 weeks total.
Yeah.
For OSUT. So you spend those remaining weeks after you become a United States Army soldier. Spend the remainder of that time becoming an infantryman. And then he and I both had the pipeline to go to airborne school after OSUT. We didn't know each other yet. We were in separate basics. We were actually in separate airborne classes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He'd gone through airborne school a little bit ahead of me. We actually ended up meeting. We both had option 40 contracts to go to Ranger Regiment, to go into RASP and try and get selected for Ranger Regiment.
Well, and another thing, like hand of fate there. My being in that specific like air course only worked out because I was already in another airborne group or whatever, an airborne class rather, and what was it? What did it say? I got pushed back. I got held back a week because they said I dropped a static line on a jump, which I didn't. I still remember that motherfucker too. So staff sergeant, jump master said I dropped the static line and I didn't.
Yeah.
But hand of fate kind of deal. If that wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't have met. I would have been in.
Thank God for that, asshole.
Yeah. No, but I would have been either in a different unit or dead. I don't fucking know. Yeah. Anything would have happened, but that's the thing is it's just little things like that, and it changes the course of everything.
Yeah.
But a little off topic there. Just
bring it up, man. Hey, it's all pertinent. It's all pertinent to what we're talking about. So when I ended up graduating airborne school, I went over to it's called pre-RASP. So that's where you're not even in the selection yet. You're an E nothing, and you're just sleeping in a bunk with like 80 other dudes. You're just waiting to class up. It's called classing up. And like it
sucks.
It sucks. It was so bad, dude. It was so bad. So number one, if you're lucky, you know somebody there. And I knew like 4 dudes that I went to base with. And so, all solid dudes. I think 3 of them ended up actually getting into regiment and going on to do some pretty great shit. But like your day consists of waking up, you got first formation, and then you are just, it's called out on the rocks.
Yeah.
You remember that shit?
Yeah, yeah.
You're just sitting out on the rocks, and it's like this little pea gravel. And
super uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's in a courtyard, like out in barracks. You're in full uniform, and you got your fucking Camelback.
And your notes.
Yeah, and your notes. Yeah, your notes to study on like unit history and the Ranger Creed and stuff like that. And out there with a bunch of dudes that you don't know.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like this tall white boy from Tennessee with like this crazy ass accent, and then this short Mexican dude from California. I don't even know, like, I can't remember the exact moment we met, but essentially, like the whole context behind it was like these two dudes approached me like, oh fuck, I'm about to get like this is gonna happen. Because that shit would happen. Like,
hey, those are some nice boots.
those are some nice boots, bro. You get those. But that shit would happen. Like, the army isn't exactly like prison, but it's that same kind of mentality. Like, boredom is rampant. Like, it's nothing to drop top and like exchange some fucking blows, and then like it's fine. It's not out of malice. It's not out of like anybody hating anybody. It's just kind of it is what it is. You know? Dudes get bored, and a lot of these guys are fucking 17, 18, 19, and like
testosterone's high.
Yeah, it's still kind of that high school mentality and shit. And but they're like, we just kind of exchanged pleasantries, and then it was the strangest deal. They're like, want to watch some movies? And so
I love watching movies, and I think that was like really what sparked it. Because like, I like watching movies, and I don't know. I think like, we exchanged pleasantries, and it was just like, hey, like, this guy seems all right. Like,
yeah, dude, that was purely it. And like the thing is they had this spot, like you would get free time in the evenings. Mm-hmm. So, and if somebody had a car, like that was awesome. And Ben Burse had a fucking car. And like Ben was the dude from Tennessee. And
good guy.
Thick accent. This man's beautiful. Like, I hope you're listening to this podcast, Ben. Like, gorgeous Adonis.
He was the good looking one of the trio.
He definitely was. And so but 3rd ID is on Benning. That's 3rd Infantry Division. And so they had like a USO is what it was.
Yeah.
And so we would go over to their footprint, and we would be at their USO, and they had like a movie theater room.
Yeah, we're just bumming their like rec center essentially.
It's nuts. It's crazy. Because we were nothing. We were just like shit asses. We've been in the army
because like our ACUs, like they had was like I think it says U.S. Army, our last name or whatever, but it wasn't like we had no patches.
Yeah. It
was like just bare uniforms, like as bare as it can get. And we look like, cherries. Just a bunch of skinny neck kids. We're all like tiny.
Yeah, we'd been in the military for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Thought we were hot shit getting to go use an actual unit's fucking USO.
Yeah.
But no, and it just like, the friendship was like concrete at that point.
Oh yeah.
That's how crazy it was. We ended up classing up together, which we went into the selection process for Ranger Regiment together. We actually both got medicaled like that same week.
Yeah.
So it was Cold Range week.
Cold Range, yeah.
Yeah, we did the ruck out there. You ended up fucking some shit up in your feet. And then
I damn near heat catted. Yeah, I remember that because I was like I was fading. Yeah. I was in and out.
Yeah, no doubt. I ended up being a casualty, and then we got back, and it's just so crazy, like that period of transition where you had such like a clear goal in mind for like where you're going. You're like, oh yeah, too easy. I'm gonna check these boxes. I'm gonna go to the Army. I'm gonna pass airborne school. I'm gonna make it through RASP, and I'm gonna go to Ranger Regiment, and that's just what's gonna happen. I'm not here to make excuses, but like big Army doesn't stop for you. You know, like if you got some shit going on and you don't pass a certain thing, big Army doesn't stop for you.
No.
Like it keeps moving. Like you're very much a fucking number, and I get it. There's no malice on my part on that. It's like, hey, yeah, cool, I wasn't ready.
A little
bit.
A little salt.
But that's also what we've touched on here, is that like everything happens for a reason. So like when we both got medicaled out of RASP, you go to this place called Worldwide, and it's literally you're moving over to the barracks next to the barracks that you were at. Like you're in the same unit footprint, which is the same like building complex. And you get told essentially you're going needs of the Army. Like you don't know where you're going. And like a lot of dudes were going to Fort Polk then.
Oh yeah.
Which is it's the 509th.
It's like
And
the worst,
that's
at
just,
least a horror story kind of place.
yeah, exactly. And that's what you hear as a
Yeah.
fucking cherry. It's like, dude, you don't want to go to Polk. You don't want to go to fucking Polk. And dude, it was so a little bit of tripping there, like a little bit of like, oh god, I don't want to live in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to live, and it's not like good part of Louisiana.
I didn't, especially I think because I never really dealt with like humidity for my life, and then I went to Georgia for basic, and I'm like, why is the air so fucking thick? You know, why am I chewing on air right now? Like,
Dude, the air is the worst there. Like, you would take a shower in Georgia,
yeah,
dry off, walk outside, and you're fucking soaking wet and nasty again.
It's just terrible. And like, I don't want to talk shit on Georgia necessarily. It's not that. It's just that weather. I'm not used to that climate. So hearing about Polk, I was just like, I don't want to do that, man.
No doubt, man. But like he was saying about the last names, we ended up because of AL. That's literally it. Because you were born with the last name Alvarez, and I was born with the last name Alquist.
Yep.
That is purely why we are still together right now. So essentially, they went down the line alphabetically, like
like 100 of us.
Yeah, worldwide.
Yeah,
got the list of duty stations that were accepting new paratroopers.
Yeah.
At that point, and Italy had 2 fucking slots, my guy.
Yeah.
Italy had 2 slots.
Lottery tickets, man.
Yeah, 2 lotto tickets, man. And then like the majority of the people went to either Bragg or Polk, and they handed us orders. Andrew got orders to the 173rd, and I got orders to the 173rd in Italy. And we it was so nuts. You meet with the OIC, which is officer in charge of worldwide, and it's this dude. He was super cool.
Yeah,
he was super cool about it. But he trotted out the dudes that got orders that day, and he's like, "Hey, listen, I appreciate you guys coming out. Sorry it didn't work out for you. I wish you the best in your endeavors."
It was really like I thought it was gonna be more like bravado, I guess, like fuck you, you know. But it was
like demeaning us, like you ain't shit.
That's just what I was used to at that point, right? Being basic and then airborne. But then it was, hey, you know, we always had the opportunity to go back at a later date.
Yeah,
you know, and I definitely know ill feelings there, you know.
Yeah, it was
a good experience overall.
Nuts. Yeah, and he handed us plane tickets to our home of record, and
say like it was an hour or it was like 3 hours, I think, that we had.
Yeah, we had like, I know for a fact we had less than 5 hours to make it to Atlanta from Columbus.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, if I remember correctly, I'd have to look it up. I know I'm misremembering, but I want to say it was like at least an hour and a half drive.
Maybe, it was,
if not 2 hours to Atlanta to the airport. And it's like, essentially, here's your airfare.
Yeah.
Go.
And I think that was the thing too, because he said if we didn't get out of there, if I remember right, if we didn't leave, like at that day, we were gonna stay the weekend.
Yeah.
And then we would have to get out of there that Monday or Tuesday, whenever the hell they got tickets again. And I remember that. And then it was, keep in mind too, we had, what was it, 3 dudes, and we all had duffel bags, like 2 duffel bags each. We had all our fucking gear, like just massive bags, a bunch of shit. And we just had to like downgrade a lot of that. I threw shoes into the sewer because couldn't fit all my stuff into the bags. I think we all threw away stuff, just random clothes and articles of clothing.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was like a mad dash to we all loaded up in Ben's car and just rocketed down the highway at Mach Jesus. And
I don't even remember the drive though. I remember, I think feelings were so high, like, you know what I mean? Like I was just kind of like in shock a little bit because it was out of nowhere, right? So
yeah, and truly it is. It was like winning. Because like that morning, the range of emotions. So imagine not knowing what your future holds in store. Like you don't know in a month where you're going to be geographically. Like you could be in the swamps of Louisiana, or you could be in northern Italy, or you could be in North Carolina. And so it was just so nuts within a matter of hours, you're handed this, freaking lotto ticket as a private to go to Italy for the next 2 years. And then you're also handed a ticket home, which is a huge emotion too, because you're not obtaining one of the goals you set forth to accomplish, which is to get into the 75th.
It's bittersweet, right? I mean,
yeah,
you're kind of like high off that feeling of like, wow, we're going to Italy. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be different, but kind of sucks at the same time, because on one of those goals on that list there, you don't get to check next to it. You gotta just cross it out, essentially. Not check it off, but cross it out. But I don't know. Again, it's one of those things I think is bittersweet. It's bad, but it's good at the same time.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it was nuts. I got a little screwed on that. Like, as far as getting to Atlanta, my flight, I forget where my connection was, but my flight home, going home on leave before we headed to Italy, it got like canceled.
You just have bad luck with flights, though. To be honest, it's just your
luck. I got
just you, dude.
I got a stupid story about Amsterdam that will have to come out on another episode. But it was nuts. My flight got canked, and I ended up having to stay in a hotel room and like miss an entire day of leave with my family, just because like one flight got canked. But it's whatever.
Yeah,
it all shook out. But I still have a photograph. We'll have to post it to our social media. I got a photograph where we're getting dropped off at the airport, and Ben is just gonna haul ass home in his car, and you and I are getting dropped off at the airport.
Yeah.
And all three of us took a photo together.
Yeah, I remember that picture. Yeah.
It's just three skinny dudes, and we knew that we weren't gonna see Ben again. Yeah. Like, you and I knew that we were gonna come back to Atlanta.
Yeah.
In a week or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think it was like 6 days or something like that. It wasn't that long. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we were gonna meet it back up in Atlanta, but Ben was headed to the 82nd, and we're like, okay, this is like where this is where the trio splits up. Yeah.
And it was bittersweet on that too, right? Because like Ben's a good guy. He's a fucking pretty cool guy, and that's the thing too. It's I'm from California, from like the coast area, Inland Empire, and Sean's from fucking originally Tennessee, but from
Kentucky. I was born in
Kentucky. Sorry, I think I've been here, but we're all from like different parts of the country, and that's what the Army kind of does, and it's pretty cool. Again, it's bittersweet because there's these three dudes who have like really nothing in common. Like originally, we have nothing in common, right? Like things that I was interested in at that time, Sean wasn't interested. Vice versa. But then it's like it just melded, you know what I mean? Like there was no there was no issue. It wasn't forced. It was just like, hey, what's up? We're best friends now.
Yeah, no doubt, dude. It's exactly how it was. And then we ended up coming home from leave. When I say home, I talking about Italy as home. Like it was it's ridiculous. But when a place
different home.
Yeah. When a place is part of your life for 2 years, stuff just kind of, perspectives get a little bit mashed up. But we ended up meeting back in Atlanta. We took the same flight from Atlanta to Europe. We ended up in Venice.
Yep.
In Marco Polo Airport.
Hate that airport. Dude, the airport's the worst.
So Marco Polo Airport, when you're like fresh into the military and you've never been there before and you're trying to report to your
never even been to like Europe. Like we've been out of the country. I think you had been to Mexico at that time, whatever, right? Or you never been out of the country yet?
I've been to the Dominican Republic.
So
but I was like 8. I was like 8.
And I've been to Mexico like a handful of times. But that's just Mexico. Like it's not like overseas on a 14, 15, 16 hour flight. Generally you can get them, but it's like there's a lot of shock.
Dude, we could sit here and do an entire podcast on navigating the Marco Polo Airport, which isn't big, mind you. But when you're trying to figure out how to get from Venice to Vicenza which is about 30 minutes apart, by bus. Like we're not renting a car or anything like that. Like we've been told in our orders, and we're getting this all from like this packet of papers. This predates when we would have had all this on like a smartphone or anything. It's a packet of papers with all your flight information, your orders that you can travel on, and all of that. And you're taking this and you're trying to interpret it and translate it to, okay, this is where I need to be. But you've got a hard date. You've got to go sign into your unit by this date. And if you don't, you're AWOL, which is absent without leave.
It was literally like, I think because we came there on a Friday. It was a Saturday, wasn't it? Friday or Saturday?
Yeah, it was a weekend. So they're supposed to have a dude, like an army guy, that's on duty there at the airport to like navigate, like help you navigate. Like, hey, yeah, go get on this bus at this time.
Yeah, there's some order to it, But we just happened to get there on a weekend. I don't know if it was Friday or Saturday, I forget. But yeah, we got there on a weekend, like midnight. Yeah. Like nobody was there, and everybody speaks English, but nobody speaks English.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is nobody was really like trying to help us out on it too much.
Nobody's going out of their way to be like, oh yeah, let me help these two assholes.
Yeah. We're just two stupid skinny neck kids like, hey, we're trying to get to space. Like, this looks stupid. I just could imagine our faces,
Dude, it was nuts. We ended up getting there, and you sign in. We ended up signing in. So you go to the 173rd in Vicenza, Italy. There's two separate, like posts, like main posts. There's a couple of other little offshoots, but like day-to-day operations happen on Caserma Ederle or Caserma del Den. First battalion is Caserma Ederle. And then 2nd Battalion is Caserma del Den. So all the in-processing happens at Ederle. So we sign into Ederle, and we go into the in-processing contingent there at the Caserma. And then we spent 2 weeks in processing? Something like that? A week in processing?
I think it was about 10 days.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, and through there, so your orders essentially take you to the brigade. Mm-hmm. And then at brigade and processing, that's when you get broken down what battalion you go into. So you're either 1st Battalion, which is 1st Rock, or 2nd Battalion.
And that was like another turning point, cause like it could have went anywhere. I could have went 1st, 2nd, or vice versa. I could have went 2nd, you could have went 1st. Or we could have went both go 2nd Battalion, but I go battle company.
Yeah.
Chosen or whatever the hell. What's it called? Destined?
Destined. Yeah.
I don't even know what the hell they did. Still never
battle
figured it out.
Chosen, destined.
Yeah, they were there, but not there.
They were our like they would be in the Humvees and stuff like that. So it's not like armored or anything, but they're mobile. They've got Humvees to roll around in, and they're like heavy weapons is what they are.
But yeah, it's just crazy. Like that could have been another turning point, but it wasn't. What happened? Right?
Yeah. So essentially, we got orders cut to the same battalion, and then when we did battalion and processing, they cut us orders to the same company. And then when we went to our company, the 1st Sergeant put us in the same platoon, and it was only then did we get broken up into different squads. We had different squads, but like when you're in a platoon, so essentially it's around 30 guys, and so it's very condensed. Like if you're in the same platoon, like those are your dudes. Those are your dudes you're spending all the time with. If you're in the same company, there might be some guys like who they are, you know their name, like their faces, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you're not like working with them daily.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like the thing with that. It was again, it could have been another turning point, and it's kind of crazy, like and I find myself, I think, doing it, like how things would have been different. Would we have had same friendship? Even though we already went through quite a bit at that point together, it's like would our friendship still have made it if we weren't in the same unit, in the same fucking squad, or the same platoon, same squad, fucking same team, everything? Like, if we weren't in all the same shit, would our friendship still have lasted? I think so, but maybe not to the point it was, because it was like, I think it's all those exterior kind of like environmental pressures, changes, and things like that that really mold friendship, or bond rather.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, because a lot of the times, like, you see it, like, you've got your buddies on Facebook and stuff like that, and it's a lot of the dudes that, like, you went to basic with, or you met in airborne school, or or they were in your unit but they weren't like in your company, like they're in the battalion but you see them walking around, that kind of thing.
Hey, what's up, that kind of deal.
Yeah, exactly. But it definitely, like, there's a lot of stuff in this life that I feel like is predetermined, and it's like we were meant to, we were meant to make it to this point.
I definitely can agree with that. It's just crazy though, when you put it into perspective like that. It's like, shit, man. Like, things could have just been completely different, but definitely like a good trip so far, on this life, and definitely a lot of learning experiences. And I think that's another thing too. It's about the Army in general though, and it sounds like we're fucking recruiters, I think, for a second, but it's just one thing that I like to talk about, because I think where my life was going at the time before I joined the military, it wasn't necessarily a bad route, but it wasn't the route I liked for me on. And I think since the Army, meeting my best friend Sean here, like, he helped me kind of grow into a different person than I think I was at the time. Like, offering a different perspective and different experiences, like, got me to think a little bit differently. And I'd like to think I did a little bit of that to him. But I don't know, he's pretty fucking set in his ways. But it's kind of crazy, kind get those different experiences, and it really can help change your course of life there. So
no, most definitely, because I mean, you see it a lot. Like, I grew up in a small town, so I went to high school and grew up in a small town in Wyoming, and I'm not knocking it, but if you get only the exposure that you're around geographically, it doesn't give you like the perspective.
Mm-mm.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with, like, living in your hometown and never leaving or whatever.
No, not at all.
But you've got going to the Army, you're opened up to so many different demographics of people, and it's honestly awesome.
Yeah, like different races, different backgrounds, careers, like different walks of life. Meaning, like, there maybe somebody 5 kids, maybe somebody has no kids. You have a fresh kid himself, and then there's a dude who's 30 years old, and he's got 5 kids. There's just different, all across the board kind of people.
You ever see that meme that, like, floats around? It's like me and my Army buddies, and it's like stock photos of, like, a cowboy, a cholo, like some gangster from the inner city and shit like that, and then, like, some dude in a polo and khakis.
Yeah.
And dude, it couldn't be more true. Like,
well, I think that we'll show this picture at a later date too, but it's the picture when we're in Lithuania.
Yeah.
And we watch that, like, mission, and it's like all the boys. Yeah. All the boys, right? All our friends in our unit. If you see, it's like, got me, the Mexican guy. There's a couple other Mexicans. There's an Asian. There's a Mexican guy. There's a few white guys scattered there. There's black guys. It's like, but if you look at all this one picture, you're just like, that is like a stock photo of random people. It looks like a Google fucking picture or whatever, because it's like, these people aren't friends, but it's like literally like the best of friends.
Yeah, dude, 100%.
Yeah,
it's like all those dudes. I could look them up on my Facebook right now.
Yeah.
There's not a guy in the photo that you hate.
No,
You know,
not at all. It was in our big photos, maybe, but not in our.
maybe the really big photos.
Yeah.
But it's like you get put into this environment where you can, surround yourself with people that want to see you succeed, because it's not a competition. Like at no point did I ever feel like anything we did was a competition where anybody was like trying to my throat or break me down or anything. It's all for the betterment of the group.
I think that's the thing too, because your boy does better. I don't know, the way I saw it is like you were doing something cool or doing something better than me at. It's not like it's a competition, but it was like I want to do something. I want to do that. I want to be. I remember I'm obviously short, but it's like I was never a fast runner. But then it's like I met Simpson. That dude was like the fastest guy, and so Simpson is another buddy of ours, but
Short as hell.
short. Yeah, he's shorter than me, and smaller frame people. So we're just thought I'd be slow. Seeing that dude run literally faster than anybody else, like nothing. I was like, okay, well then I got no excuse.
No.
But it's just speaking of that, like there's no competition necessarily. It's more like I want to be as good as that dude. You know what I mean? Like, so pretty cool. Don't get that like in the civilian world, because it's like there's a lot of like in working at companies, right? It's like I got to be better than that other employee so I can get the bonus. Yeah. And you can kind of get that in the army, but at the same time, buddy, it's like I just want to be as good at it.
Yeah, so. No doubt. Like, how do I get with that dude, and then he can impart some shit on me to where like he lifts me up to his level.
Yeah,
because he's not gonna. The thing is that dude that you're talking about, not even necessarily just Simpson, like all of your bros.
Yeah,
they want to lift you up. If they're good at something, they want to get you on par with that, because you're gonna be the one that's with them. Yeah. You're gonna be the one, if you don't hump your weight on a ruck, they're gonna be humping it, or you're gonna be holding them back. And then if you're holding them back, you're busting timelines. And if you're busting timelines, that's everybody's ass.
Yeah. That was like the worst. That was one thing like really sucked when it's like, I mean, you got that more in bait, but it was like the unit. The worst guy is your whole fucking squad. Guess what? He might be the worst, but it's like the whole squad.
Yeah.
Feel that.
Yeah, because you get posed the question. And it gets worse, like, the more time you have into that unit. You get posed the question, why aren't you guys lifting that dude up? Why aren't you helping him, be on your guys' level? Why are you letting that dude drown? And don't get me wrong, there's turds in the military, is the thing. Like, you're always going to have those dudes that, I mean, their heart's not in it for, like, everybody else. They're just purely in it for themselves, or they got the poor me's going on or whatever. But for the most part, you'll get looked at, why aren't you mentoring those younger dudes or those newer dudes to be on par with how everybody else is here?
I think that was always like it's like the schoolyard kind of deal with that too, because you've already established like those bonds with your bros. You got like new privates in, and you kind of forget like you were that private at one time. It's like you kind of you want to. I think it's what it is you want to make it difficult for them, only because it was difficult for you. But then you understand why. That's one of those growing pains kind of deal.
Yeah, that's the thing. You totally get why they make it hard. And that's the thing. Some of those dudes that are the hardest on you when you get to that unit, they turn out being like your best friends.
Yeah, I imagine Black, our buddy.
100%. I hope you're listening to this podcast, you fucking moose.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to send you the link just that way you can listen to this and just know that I love you.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's just one guy too. And there was a handful of others,
Yeah.
the boys that would just, when we first got there, would just, they gave us a lot of shit, but we were skating at kids that were just privates, right? And they were that same private, just 6 months prior or a year prior, whatever it was, and it just starts that chain. But you understand it later when you start doing. I want this guy, this kid, to be the guy I can look, in the trench, or when we're pushing a hill or whatever it is. Like, I can look to him, because helped kind of mold them in a sense.
No doubt. Well, hey, listen, guys, we're gonna close this one out right there because we wanted to include in this episode the road chosen.
Yeah, well chosen.
that's how we got there. Like, how we got there. But I really appreciate you guys supporting this podcast and listening to us. You can find us on Twitter, find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Really appreciate the support. We hope to get a Patreon up and going here sometime soon. Listen, much like Guy and I's friendship, it's not going away, my man. Like, I'm super stoked for this. I'm super excited to keep this going. I hope that we can end up having some of our friends that we haven't seen in a really long time on here. I hope that we can have new people on here, talk about some of their life experiences. Really what we're trying to accomplish in this is just, talk to people about how, especially this day and age, like friendships like Andrew and I's, if you listen to the mainstream, this isn't how it is, but this is how I kind of perceive the mainstream to be. It's not supposed to work. You're a Hispanic dude from California. I'm a white boy from Wyoming. Start of our friendship, like, we had nothing in common but like love for cinema. Like,
a love for cinema. Yeah.
But that's it, man. And then here we are. I've got two little kids. He's got a little girl. My kids know him as Uncle Andrew. They don't,
and vice versa as well.
They don't see like the difference in complexion. They don't see the difference in interests and like that. They just see our friendship. And that's what this is about.
Yeah, and talking about that journey, how we got here. At the same time, we do want to we hope to bring some friends and some kind of about their experiences and maybe some of our experiences together, and kind of go from there, and kind of give somebody, maybe listeners or whatever, maybe a different outlet or something to kind of like listen to, and if shoot the shit with us eventually one day, maybe we can do that or something. I don't know, but just a circle to kind of just hang out and chill with. So
yeah, 100%. And I mean, in the meantime, just always remember to reach out to your friends, check on your bros, lift other people up, and we'll see you next time. All right, take care, everybody.
Thank you.